This is really good to show because it's super meta, and it shows how freaking powerful Omnath is. Still just busted. Okay, so we're playing Omnath here. We fall short. I do know that. But the games we can learn things from. We learned that Omnath is broken, that Faerie is a horrible magic card, and we just watch him do Omnath things. So, we're on the draw here. We then sleep Curse Faerie. He then runs 6s, which is our nemesis. So we have nothing really to deal with this. We draw the snare a turn late, which is unfortunate. And then we go to the next... I believe we bowman. Okay, so he prismatic endings here. He only pays. This is kind of a bad thing about prismatic ending is it only costs 1. So he does this, and we have nothing to counter it. So if I had something to counter it, it'd be great. So maybe he has something else in hand, but. Because he only paid 1 for it. Can't snare it basically. So we're gonna chip away at this from 6. So play the land. So he gets that. We're really we're underwhelmed here or overwhelmed by him, and our hand is underwhelming. He has no creatures out yet. The Fairy Fencing will come in later. And then he T3s and then run 6s. So they're both at 1. So it's not horrible. We get our 4th land, which would have been great if Sleepy was still around because, you know, he could start beating. So we take our opportunity. We tarp hit. We take care of the T3. Okay. And then we see an Omnath, which we don't want to see. So what would have happened if we would have saw this Omnath? We would have let this go off. We would have let this first land slide. If I didn't have to take out that, I would hit Spell Stutter Sprite, and then I would have killed this with the fencing. So that's what would have happened here. And we actually, if that would have happened in the sequence of events, but I couldn't have done that without the T3, with the T3 being there. It's very, very important that we were in this game until this point. We were fine until this point, and the fact that he just overwhelmed us, you know, it is what it is. And by him overwhelming us, he would have done all this. He still would have played the ring. He still would have done this, but this would not have been there, and he wouldn't have been able to use it every single turn. Now he would still draw cards, but he would not have this. So. So that's a huge turn. So Omnath with the ring, it's good. So we're trying to kill the Ren 6. We want to keep him off his land drops that he loves so much. We don't get a land. So, and then he can attack. He gets another T3. So we're back to the drawing board. And I'm just throwing things at sorcery speed here. I'm doing the same thing I thought I would do earlier, but sorcery speed to get rid of this thing. Yeah, he solitudes, takes the Faerie, it doesn't matter, takes the Omnath. The best part of this card is that it's on cast and not when it resolves, like Spellstar Spray. So he then plays another one. Can't do nothing. We're pretty much dead here. He then just adds the board with a Kahira. Makes his dudes bigger, the elementals bigger. Still can't do anything. Trying to hard cat. We bounce it to get away. And then he recast. He recast again. He's so far ahead. We just can't get around this. So all right. Game 2 of Omnath. Show everybody some light. So we don't like our first. We go ahead and mulligan. And then we pitch. And then we just like what we see. So we go ahead and Sleepy. So Sleepy, like I said earlier, basically last video, is Sleepy on 1 is a different beast than Sleepy on the draw. So, you know, we're ahead, we're good. You really can't do much. So we then put our second land down. We also talked about Sleepy being very, very, very mana hungry. So to where it's going to choose, we're going to have to choose whether to untap this to make this clock go faster or add to our board as well. And it's making me pay attention to those little things. We choose to add to the board. Mostly because it's still not untapped this turn. We can untap it next turn, and we'll have 3 fairies out instead of 1. We'll have 3 fairies instead of 2 for Spellstar Spray. Okay, that's my reasoning behind this. So we then go ahead and attack. We then play a 3rd land. Like I said earlier in the other video, is that the other thing that this is really looking at is, did you get to 4 mana at turn 4? If you did, it's great, and you're good. And we're going to get rewarded for that, you know, unless something just catastrophic happens. Which, so we're at the end of his. So we did. We were able to get it. So untap. We swing for 5. This is great. Up the Beanstalk is a great magic card. It's going to be played a lot, so expect to see it a lot because it's just good. It replaces itself, and then obviously if you're doing big things like Leyline Binding and stuff, you're going to be doing great. The great thing about Leyline Binding is it can't do anything to us. It can't hurt Sleepy. Sleepy's fine, so it's going to grab the Mastermind. And I can't counter it either, so we're still good. We still got a 3/3, and so he ends up taking the damage, gets a 12. He then 1 rings. He gets protection. So, and we just wait now. Now we just have a bunch of counterspell. And we just wait. Now he does have a bunch of cards. Now he tries Prismatic Ending. Now. And he pays it. And obviously I get rid of this with Spell Surge Spray. He ups the Beanstalk. We're not worried about him drawing more cards. Him drawing more cards isn't really the problem here. We know he's going to draw enough cards with this. So, alright, he'll discard. He discarded a just a Windswept Heath. So then we attack. So we've done a few things here. We've kept Sleepy alive. We've kind of countered some things trying to kill the Sleepy and kind of going around. Other than that, he hasn't done anything but just draw cards. That's all he's done. He hasn't really done much else. So, and we have 2 counter spells in hand. So Omnath, we counterspell this. He just loses the game at that point. So we're fine with this. So when things go right and we are able to protect things, even if they ramp, we're fine. So, but notice the other big thing here is there was no Rin 6. Okay. There was no kind of ramp that was going off. All of his lands were naturally drawn, even from the up the Beanstalk. Okay. So the point I'm making here is that if Rin 6 doesn't hit this game, even with mild answers from myself, we are in this game the entire time. We're good. That's how much force of Rin 6 is on to us. Not just us, but like in the format in general. To be able for them to just never miss a land drop over and over again. So, alright, so we go to game 3, which isn't as spectacular, I promise you. So, okay, so we maybe I need this is in my testing. Okay, so we keep this hand, we keep it on the basis that we do not have a good land setup for a Sleepy turn 1. So these starts happen, but they don't happen so often. This is probably the first time in 20 games that this has happened, that we start with a Creeping Tar Pit in our hand. We have no other solutions to get a Cursed Fairy down. So I want to see if this coming down on a later turn, like turn 3, can actually get us there. Spoiler, it doesn't get us there. Do I think if this came down turn 1 that we would have a chance? We would have had a better chance. So I think we need to keep in mind this entire game. If the Sleepy went down turn 1, where are we at? So, and I'm gonna continue to analyze like that as well. Okay. So obviously what we want is we want a Darkslick Swords. We want some kind of untappable land to come in. So we can do this. So imagine Sleepy there. We then Slam Blossom because you just have to. We can also like just hold up, change the equation. But we also want to play into this next turn. We want to be able to like do other things as well. So there's plenty of things I could have done here. So he then takes the Blossom, which I didn't know he's going to do necessarily. But, and there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing in my hand currently to do that. This doesn't stop. This stops other. This is here for Fury. This is here for other things. There's nothing in my hand that can stop it to Fairy 3. And this is also why the Sleep Curse Fairy on turn 1 is probably the most important play here that didn't happen. Because he's not going to be able to Leyline Binding it. He's going to Fairy, and this would be able to be 1 or 2 turns away from the attack. So instead we do a turn 3. And then I just go ahead and play a Snapcaster because he has Teferi out now. So I have to respect that. So then he gets Rin 6. he bounces the only thing he can bounce without tapping out. Because him tapping out here is just dumb to bounce this. So, and then I'm just here trying to put boots on the ground. You know, if this was out, I would have been able to untap it and attack this turn, and either attack the T3 or attack the Win 6. So this is what I'm talking about. If this would have came down turn 1 and not turn 3, where we would have been. Also, we've missed 2 land drops. If that other land drop, that 4th land drop that I've been talking about, if that's there, I'm able to cast this and untap this multiple times and get this online faster. So I'm seeing these synergies with this card. So alright, so we do a bunch of things. He goes for Prismatic Ending, gets it. Snapcaster Mage dies from the Win 6, and yeah. So in turn, he Omnaths. He does Omnath things. So we're just putting things on the board to try to put pressure on him. There is nothing. He also doesn't have cards in his graveyard to drown this, and then he Furies and clears us out. So these 2 problem cards that basically wreck the format are here now. And, you know, I can manage games with Omnath and T3. But you start adding this stuff into play to where they're getting lands back every turn, and yeah, it just becomes unwinnable, unfortunately. And then he Kahiras, he then attacks. Yeah, he rings. Like, what? Like, there's so many banned cards that are possibly here. On, you know, Rin 6, Fury, the Ring. In one deck. Doing one thing. So, I don't know what else you need to play in a game of Magic. To feel like you played a game of Magic. But whatever that is that's this. So, yeah. So anyway, we untap. Oh, we're searching for stuff. He still only has 3 cards in his graveyard. That's why I can't. That's why these Drums of the Locks are nothing. Or I would have killed this and this and this. So I could kill this, but at this point I'm at 3. So I could kill this, and still die to that. So we're kind of out of options at this point. We're just dead. And then that's where the game ends. So anyway, that's kind of my analysis of Omnath. Basically, the key moments is Rin 6 and Fury need to go out of the format. Rin 6, anytime Rin 6 stays around more than 2 turns, I think it takes all decks, every single deck, it takes them out of the ability to come back, because you've now found so many lands that you're functioning on all cylinders and you're fine. So that's the reasoning for Rin 6 to go. And then Fury is just value. You know, the One Ring is, you could argue, 4 against the One Ring. So One Ring brings a lot of stability to the format, but it also takes a lot away from it too. Maybe I should sideboard, maybe a Pithing Needle, maybe 2 Pithing Needles need to come in to take care of these Rin 6 problems. But even with that, they have Leyline, but they're playing the best removal suite in the format. They're playing Exile, everything Exiles, because they're playing Leyline Binding and they're playing Prismatic Ending. So they're playing like 6 or 8 copies of like Exile, whatever I want, non-land permanent. That's busted. And they're playing this for 1 mana. They're playing this for like 1 or 2 mana. Like, I mean, what else are you gonna give this deck, really? So, and like you saw in game 2, we can hang around this deck. We really can. And the biggest thing, and I'll go back on myself, is, uh, you know, probably have to mulligan for the Sleep Curse Fairy. Thought I could do it with just the Bitter Blossom, and that's not correct. That was me testing, and now I know better. Now I know that if you're on the draw and you got a game 3, you better get a Sleepy down turn 1, or it's not going to be well. So anyway, hope you enjoy the analysis. Hope you enjoy looking at games a different way other than watching me playing them and then going back and talking about them more. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments in YouTube. Definitely hit up YouTube, subscribe to Twitch, and let me know you guys are out there. So, and if you enjoy it, if you don't like it, tell me what you don't like about it. If you want something else, let me know. So, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. So, have a good one. So.